Good afternoon. I am Akisa Wandera. We begin with some breaking news at the IEBC at this hour. The chairman of the commission, Wafula Chebukati, has now written to the commission CEO Chiloba demanding tough answers on what went wrong with the August 8th presidential election. A leaked memo from the chair demands a raft of explanations, including why the chair's password was allegedly used to access the results transmission system. Chebukati also wants to know why the satellite phones bought by the commission were not used to relay data from polling stations. Chebukati's memo, which is dated 5th of September, details numerous failures by the Secretariat that formed a key part of the Supreme Court proceedings. The chair also wants an explanation why the KIMS kits used in the election were not locked to specific locations as had been agreed. He also raised questions why some forms used in the election did not have security features as agreed between IEBC and the printer. The memo comes in the wake of sharp divisions in the commission following Chebukati's move to sideline key people in the Secretariat in a new election project team. 4 of the commissioners have since disowned the list, but Chebukati, in a letter to political parties, stresses the independence of the commission and that the law allows him to take the move he has taken. Let's now bring in our senior political reporter, Duncan Haemba, who now joins us live from our City Centre studios. Duncan, this latest developments from the IEBC, what effects really would it have on the arrangements for the October 17th fresh elections?
Clearly, it is a storm that is brewing at the anniversary towers, and we are yet to get finer details with regard to that particular communication. But we do understand it might have serious ramifications on how that particular poll agency is going to conduct the fresh polls, because clearly it appears like the commission, once it's demanding, had questions that must be answered from the Secretariat. Remember that by and large, it's the Secretariat that runs the affairs of the Commission, and therefore, if at all there's that communication to that effect, then it could be a clear case of maybe people wanting the right persons to carry that Supreme Cross. Therefore, we'll be trying to get details. But I think, Akisa, the Standard today, it had something to that effect, in that it appears apart from the commission trying to demand hard answers from the Secretariat, it's like there appears to be a division among the commissioners of themselves. Of course, the Standard has clearly elaborated that there are 4 against 3, because it said only 2 commissioners seem to be backing the chairperson with regard to the raft of changes he effected at the commission just the other day. And then there are 4. They are talking of the Vice Chair, Consolata Nkadha, Commissioner Abdi Gulie, Commissioner Ambassador Paul Kurgat, and Commissioner Moyu Bolu as being against those changes, which of course Jubilee has also said a big no to them, whereas it said Commissioner Rosalina Kombe and Margaret Motanya appear to be the only ones backing the chair. So it's sort of 4 against 3. So that actually paints a picture on what exactly could be brewing at the anniversary towers. So in as much as there's pressure from NASA and Jubilee to the team that everything has to be put in place before the October 17th new presidential election date, the commission itself could be at loggerheads, and then again the commission versus the Secretariat. So that is what perhaps we'll be trying to follow leads on what particular that memo was all about, that communication in the event. We'll be trying to talk to 2 or 3 persons at the commission to ascertain whether it's true we have that rift or not.
Well, Duncan, 39 days to the election, the chairman consistently making changes and now asking these tough questions or posing these tough questions to IEBC CEO Chiloba. In essence, what really is he trying to achieve with these changes that he's making?
You will appreciate the fact that the nullification of that particular election being the apex of the August 8th general election, that was the cream of the August 8th election, and unfortunately it is the presidential one that was tainted and nullified. This was the highest stake election, even in terms of resources, funding, and the commission perhaps thought that they've put their best foot forward. Therefore, that nullification by the Supreme Court was a harsh indictment to the whole process. And of course, with them being given a second chance to conduct a fresh poll, clearly the commission, or the chair by extension, of course, who is the face of IEBC, has to try and, or he has to appear to be seen to be doing the right thing, and maybe that is the reason why he's doing changes here and there. Of course, NASA had demanded the same. Yesterday, we saw Jubilee Secretary General Rafael Tuju opposing, pointing fingers at certain individuals that they think should not be at the center of the planning of this particular election. Therefore, that is the kind of pressure that IEBC seems to be under. But I think the biggest is this particular opportunity that they've been given.
Even with the opportunity, we are seeing very sharp divisions, not only between the commissioners and the secretariat, but the commissioners themselves. Where does this leave us with less than 40 days to go to the elections?
That is the million-dollar question, or the elephant in the room, if you like it, because one, the commission wants to sort of absolve themselves from blame, given that it is the secretariat that does the donkey work. On the other hand, it's said that the commissioners themselves, they are sharply divided on the changes that their figurehead, that is the chairman, wants to effect. So we are not so sure whether it's now like it's the secretariat that should shoulder the blame, carry this cross, or we don't know whether there are certain commissioners that perhaps could be blamed for what happened. So it is sort of a catch-22 situation for the same commission. They have 39 days, as you've said, to prepare for this second chance of conducting fresh presidential elections. They have credibility issues that they have to battle to make sure that they get it right. And again, they seem not to be agreeing on what is the way forward, on what changes need to be effected, and the clock is fast ticking. They had 60 days, that was reduced to now 39 that we are talking about. And maybe it might even be brought forward despite the fact that it has been already gazetted. So there are a lot of issues that matters that will be affecting, synonymous to what we witnessed before August 8th. This was the same case day after day. The commission used to be having a headache on daily basis.
Duncan, earlier on, the IEBC was expected to meet with various stakeholders, including the political class, but we understand that NASA was a no-show. Just keep us up to speed with that.
Yes, yesterday NASA at their PG, the principals, the four of them, Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, and Musalia Mudavadi, left in a hurry. And John Mbadi, Suba North Member of Parliament, who was left in charge of the PG and gave a briefing to the media, confirmed that they had left for an urgent meeting with the IEBC. When we called at the IEBC later, we were told there was no such meeting, but they confirmed that that meeting had been slotted for today, 8 in the morning. Now, in the morning, we spoke to NASA. They said they are waiting for the commission to pay them a visit at their Capitol Hill base. But when we engaged IEBC, they said they are an independent body, they cannot go. Therefore, NASA said when we sought further communication from them, they said they will be communicating to us when they will be meeting IEBC. Now, when we asked IEBC, they said they'd set aside that bit for them. Now that they didn't show up, the commissioners proceeded to other meetings. Of course, we were told that today they were working on a budget that they have to ensure that they prepare it and submit to the Treasury to enable Treasury set aside or create funds for them for the fresh poll. But Jubilee has been given a 3 p.m. date. Therefore, 3:30, Jubilee will be going there, and its Secretary General Rafael Tuju has confirmed they will be attending that meeting at 3:30. So NASA was a no-show. Jubilee will be showing up at 3:30.
Duncan Heimba, senior political reporter, joining us live from our city centre studios with the latest developments at the IEBC and the fallout now between commissioners and the Secretariat, as well as the fallout once again within the commission itself. We'll definitely be bringing you all the details even as we continue to get them.